everybody, Steve here. Today we're on to metal project. A real simple metal project when in the big scheme of things. We're building a wood box. So this is a box where you can store your wood in. This one actually is going to be incorporated into a fireplace. So it seems like right now I've done a few of them for people where they actually want these metal wood structures so they can store their wood. And it's great because it's just a fun, wonderful little project. And this one here, pretty simple, just a square, but we're going to put some expanded metal on the sides. We're going to have a solid metal bottom. I don't know if this one's in the frame. That one right there. Anyway, that one there is just a standalone. And there's a lot of neat ideas that you could do. But for the most part, it's pretty simple. Now, I'm not at my other shop, so I don't have all my tools here, my chop saw or anything like that. So I'm cutting everything with my zip disc. Now, if you've done any metal work, if your chop saw isn't set up perfectly, your chop saw always gives you a little bit of an angle. It's not perfect. I know it's metal, you can always just fudge a little bit, weld the gap up. But when you cut with a zip cut, you can actually get a real nice, accurate cut. And we're only going with some thin wall stuff here. So cutting is so easy to do. Just mark everything out with a combination square and a felt marker, and you're good to go. Now, when you're cutting with a zip cut, as you can see, this is my cotton jacket. You end up burning this away, and you will start yourself on fire eventually. And these little tatters, you sit there and just buzz straight onto them, and she's going up in flames. So don't wear your good jacket. I know I've got I got leather schmuck somewhere. Why I don't have it, I don't know. But anyway, and don't shoot your sparks up against anything that's glass or flammables, of course. Yeah, that's all you have to really worry about. So we're doing this little project in a shop that's not really set up, but it works. I got my little welder. We're gonna tack everything together, and then when it warms up, we're in a real big deep freeze right now. That's why I'm not out in my other garage. And when it warms up, then we go out there and use the big welder. So let's get started. Done enough of that pre-talk. We're gonna do some cutting. Get everything all cut up, and we can start putting her together. All my pieces have been cut, got them all cleaned up. Doesn't take very much. It does a nice job when you just cut it with a zip cut. So what we're going to do here is I'm building this on a table. Now, of course, when you're welding anything up or you're building any project, flat is everything. And on the table, it kind of gives her one of these. It's not really that good. In fact, I should pull my tarp back. I'll probably do that. But, so what I do is I've got a piece of 1/4 inch sitting here, and then that's going to sit on there like this. So we have some air space in between. And then what we're going to do, so most people would just clamp this welder up, call her good. You got to make sure you're square first. This is pretty close. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take these other two that I have, and I'm just going to lay them right there. You could look just the way it is now. Just like that. And then you look to see if it's nice and flat. Now I can tell you right now, it's not. I got a low spot on this corner over here. So, I gotta find me a couple pieces of material that can lift that up. Just a bit more. All right. Another piece. Okay, that is really, really good. Okay, so we took the whoop-de-doo out of it. Now we can clamp it, make sure that we're all nice and square, start tacking it together. I'm going to double check with a square. Okay, I'll build the next one. So I think what I'm going to do here is tack these on. Just kind of get them close. Just put a little bit of a tack on there. And then I can just set the other one on there, and if I have to grind a weld or two, no problem. Okay, just put a tack on the back. It's going to allow me to easily grind it if I have to, or move it a little bit one way or the other. First thing I do, check to see how that is. That looks really good again. Alright, I think what I'm going to do is just going to tack the ends again, get it close, and then we're going to check for square, and if we have to adjust one way or the other, then we do. This is a little bit bigger box. If it's a little bit smaller, a guy could have done it the other way. Maybe worked out a little bit better. A little bit of a rock there. I have to see what's going on. And the best way to check is our corner to corner. I'm going to slide her this way. Okay, we got to tweak her a little bit. Alright, the way I had this before, you know, nothing was really holding well. Just put a piece of pipe and a rod down there. That works awesome. So now I got it all square, I can tack everything up. Don't have to worry about nothing. Plug the welder in, turn it on. Well, we got ourselves a nice rectangular frame here. So now, this one is actually going to go in, and I'm not sure if it's going to be exposed on the outside, but we're going to have mesh on the outside, on the sides here. On the bottom, we're going to go solid, and on the top, it's going to screw on to something up there. I'm really not really too sure. So, next step, we're going to cut a piece here for the bottom out of some plate that I have, and it's simple to do. You know, I'm trying to do that. I'm working in my shop, and I'm using the you know, the minimal of tools that I have. I'm using a grinder, and I'm going to be cutting the plate with a jigsaw. So, you know, no reason for some guy to fire up in his little garage and build some sort of a metal structure. You don't really need that many fancy tools. In fact, you might even need less than woodworking. I'm not sure. I'd have to do the math. Let's cut us a piece for the floor. So this piece here, it's unfortunate I'm only 1.25 inches short what I really need. So I have to take it out of here, but that's okay. And we are going to use a jigsaw. I found that that is just the best way to cut this. It's clean, a little bit more accurate, and a lot more fun. Alright, we're ready to put the bottom on. I built this little jig here. It's just so that I don't want my metal to be flat with the top. I want it in about 1/8 of an inch down. That way you don't see the edge of this metal here. So that's what this is for. It would be nice to have my metal clamps here. Get over here. Hold it here. I flipped it up the other way. A little bit easier, I think. I'm not sure. So what I'm going to do is just put a tack right here. And then I'll move the gauge all the way around. Heavier. Alright. Up here. Okay, we're getting closer. We've got the bottom in now. We just have to put the sides in, and we're going to do that tomorrow. I'm going to run out to the mother shop. I've got some expanded metal there, and bring it back. I'll show you what I do to weld that stuff in. Next step, we are going to put in our sides. Now in this particular one, client wants, you know, some mesh on the sides, and that's fine. But there's lots of options out there for you if you're building one for yourself. I have these little tabs cut up. Of course, you can make them yourself, but for the cost of what it costs to get a laser guy to wheel off a tab for you is about half of what you can build it for. And on this one here, this one needs to be mounted. I'm actually going to put some tabs on the top, but you can run tabs on the inside here and have plywood. You can do whatever you want. There's so many different options here. If you really wanted to, it'd be a little bit heavy, but you could just go with the straight steel in there if you really wanted a tough box. But this one here, we're going to put the mesh in, and there's really no other way to cut this stuff other than just to use a zip cut. Unless, of course, you got a real fancy shear. But this is kind of a DIY kind of a thing, so you're probably not going to have one of those. All right, we're going to measure this up, mark it out, cut it, and I'm going to show you how I install it. Alright, that fits nice, but you know, this is the easy way to do it. You know, you just put your expanded metal in, and you can, you know, line it up to the middle, tack it up, but then, you know, you kind of see, you know, a rough edge. It's hard to cut this so that it fits really, really tight. So what I do is I actually put a little 1/8 by 3/4 all the way around to kind of frame it in, and I'm going to offset it about 1/8 of an inch, and then it just kind of makes it look a little bit more finished. I know it's an extra step, but it's worth it. It really is worth it. So we're going to cut these up, and then we can tack them in and then put the expanded metal in. I'm using the same jig that I used to put the floor in to give me my offset that I want. Now, this stuff here is pretty thin, so make sure it's straight before you put it back in there, because it usually comes and it's like this. And then it's just a matter of sliding it in, clamp it, and then we'll just tack it and just move our gauge down, and we're good to go. As soon as we build our little frame around there, then we can put our mesh in, weld it up. Now we got our frame all done. You can see that the mesh goes in, and it's a lot easier. You got way more room to weld your mesh in with, and it looks a lot better. So I'm gonna frame up the other side, and then I'm gonna take these out to my other shop. Before I weld these in, I wanna weld everything up just to make it a lot easier for me to get in and clean everything up. And then I'll put these in last. Okay, we got inside all welded up, buffed up, cleaned up, ready to go. So now what I want to do is I want to put my mesh in, and of course, you know, you've got little welds and stuff like that on the inside, and it seems like every weld's in the way, so you may end up having to grind a little tab off here, make everything fit. And once you've got her, all it is just a matter of welding her up. Pretty simple. Now we do the other side. Nice and solid. Now all we have left, just finish up a couple of beads here, buff them up, and I think this one here is just about done. Alright, we got her done. I think she looks good. Now this one here, I just threw a little bit of wood in there for, you know, making it look good. But this one, we got no top on it because it's going to go underneath something and it'll get screwed to. And there's going to be a wall at the back. So we don't have to worry about that. And this one here is a short little guy. Just going to be for just storing wood. This one here's got a couple different shelves, so it's a little different style. You can just build whatever works in your place, and that's how you build things. So, like I said before, this one's going to have plywood sides on it, and this one here, of course, got the mesh on the sides. You can do whatever you want. You know, it's just unlimited. But anyway, there we have it. So, it works. And it'll work for you too. Bit of a challenge, but not bad. So anyway, till next time, Thanks for watching.